Alright everyone, we are here with War 10 against KenOB. Today I'll be taking in Sorcerer Supreme, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Mr. Negative. I only have node 20 in section 1, which is the shared node for paths 1 through 3. And I will have a fight on path 9 in section 2, the shared fight there, a mini boss, and I am on boss duty. So it's been the story of this season for me that I take Manthing here. I think it is 8 out of 10 wars that Manthing has been placed here. So this will be the 8th attempt of Manthing with Mr. Negative. Usual game plan: parry, reparry, heavy, parry, medium, light, light. That puts us at, should be 7 light energy and 5 hits. And then the evade counter will push us into 6 and give us the 7 dark energy. Wait out an unstoppable if it's going to come up at that point. If not, parry, reparry, medium, light. And then wait out unstoppable, or it had already been waited out, medium, light, light. And that final light should be the 10th hit of the rotation, triggering the armor up from the node. So we're waiting out any unstoppable there and from the global. So he threw SB1. So we could have had some additional light energy sooner, but I decided to bank that 7 and take that light energy. So we're on the second half of the evade counter here. We're at 10 hits. We're waiting for this global timer. I didn't want to throw SB2. Good thing I didn't. The unstoppable procced. We're going to evade counter off the wall into SB2. And we were very mindful as to whether that evade counter was going to be against the heavy attack, which would have been unstoppable. So perfectly timed, perfectly executed. A little bit of damage from the shock. No big deal. Easy solo for Mr. Negative again. The one path I had on path 9 is this bishop here with Cosmic Ghost Rider. I am doing it without the Odin pre-fight, the shock, so I'm going to end up waiting out the shock phase in this fight by just parrying. I am trying to be very mindful in this fight of not triggering dexterity before the first SP2. And then if spacing started to become an issue, so he's a little aggressive here, I decided to heavy right on this parry. And then he decided to be passive. And I'm going to do one more parry, and I'm just going to go ahead and start the rotation. Power gain judgment into vigilance, judgment into SP2. Cosmic power back boosts are going to push us to SP2. I'm going to hold block and make him come in. He tries to do a heavy from far away. Even if we trigger dex, it's not a big deal. The dex buff from the first SP2 is still running, so it was going to do a great deal of damage, and down bishop went nice and easy. Mojo over here on node 47, taking it with Mr. Negative, not with a PS1. We're going to parry in full hit or 5-hit combo, ending with a light attack so that we can get out of range if he decides to throw SB1 right away. And then depending on spacing or how close he is to his wall, the second parry isn't going to be followed by a full combo. It's just going to be a few hits to probably bait out the guaranteed SP1 that he has so that we don't push him to SP2. So here it is, trying to get it out. He's not really wanting to throw it, which is fine. We're building some light energy, trying to dex it here. There we go, evade counter with 6 dark, so this is perfect. Gonna do the same thing, kind of push him back. We get a little intercept there, which is good. Not giving him power through kinetic transference there. And it's not a big deal that I haven't built much light before this SP2. Honestly, if we trigger SP2, there's going to be a little bit of time to wait out that indestructible boost. So I'm not in any hurry to throw out this SP2. So spacing, timing, working out here perfectly. Evade counter into SP2, and then let him melt. Now I'm going to willingly parry. It's going to power drain him, and down he goes. So another solid war for Mr. Negative. And then my final 2 fights on Boss Island, I already placed the inequity pre-fight blessing for Sorcerer Supreme, so you didn't see that on screen or in this video. Usual game plan with Sorcerer Supreme and dealing with a lot of health. I'm going to start with PS1. I'm going to throw special 1 to get an early slow. I'm going to be aggressive while that slow is up, unless there's a special attack I don't want them to get to. And then when that slow debuff falls, I'm patiently waiting to power gain to SP3. And if I get there before falling into the inequity blessing, I'm still patiently waiting until she changes blessings. So we're in resolve. We're not quite at SB2 here. It might line up well. We don't really have a nullification aura up. And we're starting, and there we go. Perfect timing. Works for me. We throw the SB3, go through the long animation. And here the fight is pretty much won as long as we don't do anything stupid. As in parry, get parried, or, you know, miss blocks, whatnot. So now game plan, bait out SB1s, retaliate, combo into SB whatever we have at the time. With this node, since it is polka dot power, it tends to be SB1 into SB2. And sometimes with the Mystic boosts, we are able to get back to SB2 with an SB2 being thrown. Just depends on the damage. So I'm just taking every special attack and opening possible in the moment. So throwing quite a few SB2s here, or SB1s here. But it's not a big deal. I think I'd rather, for the most part, if it's there, nullify the armor up instead of proc a crit and then end up with shock damage. But luckily we have a bunch of the healing aura here, so a lot of blocked attacks are going to help us avoid item use after this fight. And you can see here we're starting to roll with special 2 attacks, and waiting for special attacks to get thrown going to help us a little bit more. There's one scary special one. It's right here. I figure I might as well throw it so that I can nullify this regen, even though it's not a lot. And it did the whole Herc thing versus XL champs where that first hit just didn't land. But luckily he was passive. Wouldn't have killed us, but would have been annoying item use. And we end up ending the fight with 100% health. So that rolls us into our next fight. Same thing, I placed the pre-fight off screen. We also had an extra white Magneto pre-fight for some damage. This is a redemption fight. Last time I fought Black Panther on the boss node, they caught me on a bad day and I died at 50% with 3% left on Black Panther. It was really annoying. So I'm slightly tilted that that happened, and am grateful for the opportunity to try and get the solo again. But same tactic, PS1, throw the special one, get the slow, aggressive while slow is up, but he's not really throwing a heavy here, so he's kind of frustrating me. And now that the slow's gone, I'm just going to kind of wait against the wall here until we get into inequity. And now we are. I'm tapping the special button. We finally got SP3 off. Same thing here as Hulkbuster. Once we get this SP3 off, the fight is pretty much won as long as we don't do something stupid. And of course, Black Panther is a little bit trickier and easier to do stupid stuff against. So here we go. Being mindful to keep our distance when he has SB1, especially if our goal is to bait it, so that we don't get hit by the second hit of it. Decide, since he's being so passive, to throw this SB1. He threw SB1 at a distance. I practiced the timing if it hit my block to retaliate without getting parried. And now he's just pretty much going to be stuck in this chain rotation of me murdering him with SB2 and him immediately throwing SB1 off the wall, and then me blocking it, and then me throwing SB2, and then him throwing SB1 off the wall, and then me retaliating it, and me throwing SB2, and him immediately using SB1 off the wall. So this is the rhythm for the rest of the war, or the rest of the fight. Was happy, was kind of bullying him here, not letting him off his corner after he'd cornered me before SB3. We're just laying on the damage with these SB2s, and then that last SB2 pushed us to SB3, and he's in 11% range with a bunch of armor breaks. I figure this is just going to knock him out. So I'm actually already cheering in the background while this is going on, that we clutched the redemption. So smooth war for me, nothing too complicated, especially against KenOB. You like it when that happens. Our battle group actually only died one time, but they died 0. And despite their season, KenOB actually beat us 2-1. So not really that mad at all. 2-death war and you lose, it just wasn't in the cards for you. It wasn't. And you could have played better, but it just means you had to play perfect almost, especially with this fight time. So unfortunate, because we were in 3rd and that knocked us down to 5th, I believe. And KenOB hadn't been having that great of a season. I think they were 3-6 prior to this war, and they're in Plat 1, and then this win didn't move them out of Plat 1. So it's going to make the last 2 wars of the season interesting as we fight to get into top 3 and then maintain it. So it's all going to depend on matchups, whether we rematch people or match above us, or if we match near us and kind of hope someone else beats above us. So we'll see how it goes. That was the end of my war. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, follow, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys at the next one.